No servant can serve two masters. He will either hate one and love the other, or be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and mammon. The gospel of the Lord. Brothers and sisters, yesterday when I came to Sept Bend, one of our friends took me around this great city. I wanted to see the city. And one of the places I visited was the cathedral. When I entered in the cathedral, there was an image of someone, and this person was having a sword, and quickly I did not know what it was. So I was saying, war in the cathedral? So quickly I went and started reading. And when I started reading, I realized that it was the image of St. Martin. So, and what makes the story of St. Martin great, many of you might know, after whom the cathedral is named, is that St. Martin in the cold time saw a poor, and he divided his coat and gave part of his coat to the poor. That's the most interesting story of St. Martin. Taking what he has, the wealth he has, his own cloth, he gave it to a poor. And that is what the gospel said to us today. Money is to make friends for the kingdom of God. Wealth is to make friends for the kingdom of God. Wealth is to make friends for the kingdom of God. That the theme of my sharing today with you. Wealth is to make friends for the kingdom of God. The gospel of today, in terms of business, sounds fishy. You say, this is not a way of doing business. I'm not going to enter in that, but let's use the word mammon today. The word mammon in Hebrew is almost the same thing like the word God, but mammon in Hebrew means an evil god that people trust. So in that sense, what Jesus is telling us today, mostly we can understand that in the context of the gospel according to Luke in terms of wealth. Because Luke has a very good theme of wealth. How wealth should be used. And according to St. Luke, in the gospel according to St. Luke, there are two important things that I would like to mention. First of all, Luke is very clear that wealth, mostly money, mammon, is a servant. Mammon cannot be God. So that's the first thing that St. Luke wants anyone who reads his gospel to understand. Mammon, although it sounds like God, although that many people will consider wealth as God, but mammon is not God. Mammon is a servant. A servant for God. Use it to be closer to God. That is why the second theme of St. Luke of wealth, of money, is that wealth is there to make friends for the kingdom of God. Use your wealth, use your money to make friends. So that's the most important theme of St. Luke. Wealth is there not for any purpose, but first of all, to make friends. That's what this guy in the gospel was doing, making friends for the kingdom. So money is there, mammon is there to make friends. And you will see that theme very well in the gospel according to St. Luke. If you look at the story of the Lazarus and the rich man, if you look at this parable, what was the problem with the rich man? Because he did not use his money to make friendship with Lazarus. He did not use his money to make friends. Meanwhile, the rich man in that parable will be like what we had in the first reading. He was just saying, okay, this one is nothing, and he was despising Lazarus. So he did not make my friend with Lazarus. Meanwhile, St. Luke is very clear that when you have wealth, wealth is to make friends. And the rich man forgot to make friends when he was having money. And that's why when he died, they will say, oh, you did not make friends, now you cannot be welcome here. And another story, in according to St. Luke in the Gospel, to understand a little bit the theme of wealth, the theme of mammon, is the story that many of us know, the story of Zacchaeus. As soon as Zacchaeus will meet Jesus, Zacchaeus realized that while he was having money, he did not make friends. And now what he will do is what? He will take his money and give to people because he started making friends. So when you meet Jesus, you know that mammon becomes not number one, not become God, because Zacchaeus was using mammon as his God. Whatever he was doing just was mammon, mammon, mammon. But now when he meets Jesus, mammon will not become number one. Mammon will become the servant, and that's why he gave mammon to others in order to become friends with them, to make friends in the kingdom. So you will see many stories like that, parables in the Gospel according to Luke, to show that first of all, mammon or wealth is to be shared, mammon is to make friends with others, and mammon is not to be considered as God, but as a servant. Brothers and sisters, this is a very important theme to our modern world, in our business world. If you look at our life, we spend more time after mammon. We spend more time running for money. We spend more time looking for it. That's great that we should look for money as a servant. But the point of today is when you and I, at the end of the day, we have to sit, we have to sleep, we have to remember, yes, I was looking for you money, but you are not my God. I have a God. And that's something many of us in the world of today are starting to forget. We are starting to be consumed by the search of mammon, mammon becoming God, wealth becoming God. And you will see that those who have a lot of money, those who are those who worship, those who we consider to be great, those we consider to be. So when someone doesn't have money, someone has nothing, we look down upon him or upon her. We think that in him or in her, humanity is less. So that is something very important. Money should never become God. So let us remember, it's just a servant. And the second thing I said that we had, when you and I start having money, we should thank God. That's a blessing God has given us. But let not money make us so distant from one another. You see this guy in the gospel today, what he start doing is to start making friends with wealth. With wealth, let's make friends. It's like with Abraham. When God has been a blessing to you, be a blessing to others. Share that blessing to others. And that's the way that you're blessing. That's why Abraham is remembered. Because he was a blessing to others by the fact of God blessing him. So when God gives you mammon, when God gives you wealth, in any type of wealth, it can be financial wealth, can be intelligent, can be whatever. Use that wealth to make friends. Friends on earth and friends in heaven. And that is very important. As I still say that point, sometimes many of us, when we become with a lot of money, when we are so highly educated, when we have this and that, we look down upon people. Others look so small. Others look like nothing. This is not it should be. Brothers and sisters, let me share this personal story of myself. As Fatben said, I am originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa. And just 3 years after my ordination, my religious order sent me to the United States to study. And I was there for 12 years to study medicine. So after I finished at Emory University, Atlanta, some of you might know, Georgia. Emory is a very prominent university in the United States. And the medical school is among one of the best in the United States. So after finishing there, my professor told me and asked me, say, okay, what are you going to do? And I said to him, okay, I just reflected, I'm going back to Congo. My professor looked at me and said, okay, Jean, you look so naive to me. I said, why? I said, okay, what are you going to do to Congo? You will have a better position here in the United States. You will have better money. You will have better life. You will have better. So what are you going to go to Congo? I see. In the mind of my professor, I needed mammon. I needed to get all this mammon to be a grade. And that is not bad. To have money was not bad. To have a great position at the university in the United States was not bad. That's what a professor should do. Like your parents, you want the best for your children, and he wanted the best for me. I'm not saying that what he was saying is bad. In fact, he did a great thing, because as a professor, he needed to see that his student is becoming best. But for me, that was, I said to him at the end again, I said, I'm sorry, Tony, I'm going back to Congo. He did not know. At the end, I told him, I said, I am a priest. And this was a very tough decision for myself, because I know it was a very tough decision. But for me, the most important was is that surely in the United States they will benefit from my service as a neurologist. I know surely in the United States I will have a better money. But where will I make the more impact? Where will I make a better name for God and for myself? Is in the Congo. The help I'm giving today as a physician, as a priest in the Congo, and the recognition even in terms of as a researcher, as a professor, I get is more than I'm getting that I would have received. So I thought that for me, to be with God, to make friends for God, was more important than a better salary. Brothers and sisters, Father Ben is there, my friend. Sometimes I don't have water, Sometimes I don't have internet. Sometimes I remember that sentence of my friend, my professor, I wish I stay in the United States. But I remember, for me, better God to be number one than mammon to be number one. That's why I would like to tell you and everyone here, make friends with mammon. Don't make friends with mammon to remain just like that. Make friends with mammon so that you make friends for the kingdom of God.